So today, I'm so excited, y'all, to be jumping back on my platform and just coming with the vibe that I intended to come with. I know God says, work with what you have and you shall be blessed. Um, I am definitely blessed and highly favored, and I thank God for every position He has put me in, the bad, the ugly, and the good and excellent. I thank God for everything, and I put Him first. And when I started putting Him first in my life, I just felt so much better. Like, I just felt so much fulfillment with bringing Him closer to me, because I feel like for a long time I wasn't really close with God. For a long time I didn't understand how to start, building that relationship with Him. But I definitely pride myself or on a lot with building my relationship with God and trusting Him and putting my trust in Him, because He is highly merciful and just continues to bless me. Most importantly, we are back, y'all, with the Raw Reality Podcast. I was about to say I can't believe it, but that is not the truth, y'all. It is currently 10:56. So it's a little too early for me personally to, take some shots, but we're definitely gonna put some gas in the air and just talk. Today's episode is called Girls Need Love. And us as girls, we definitely need love. We need to be loved on. First, you need to start by loving yourself, loving on yourself, and just being you, being comfortable in your own skin. That's really the first step. And then other people around you, like the groups and cliques that you build or put yourself in, whether it's family or friends, you should most definitely think about the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because that is a reflection of you. Most importantly, birds of a feather flock together. It's kind of the easiest way to kind of put that or say that, but birds of a feather flock together. So the people that you keep around you is the energy that you will definitely get back in return. So that's something I also had to learn. I have to put people around me that love me if I want to feel loved. You get what I'm saying? And saying it kind of like makes sense, because you need to be around people that definitely love you, support you, and care about you, because you're going to feel that, especially if you're reciprocating the energy to them and they're reciprocating it back. It's definitely going to work out for you in the end. So, y'all, we're going to go ahead and spark up. I can't take a shot, so, well, I can, but I'm just choosing not to. I don't see why I need to take a shot early this morning. But I am so happy, y'all. We got the setup going. We got everything going and working and moving and grooving. And I'm just so proud. So we're about to get into, we don't have a quote of the day today. I would say today's quote, if I'm just making it up off the top of my head, is "Fuck it, we ball." And that's that. Like, you got to live your life like fuck it. Like, I gotta take a chance. I gotta be ready for this risk. It might fail. I might fall deeper than what I came into it with, but I need to try, because you never know what can happen. You never know where something can take you and what your calling is. You know what I'm saying? Period. But shout out to me, y'all. Like I said, everything was done by me. This damn setup was so freaking hard to get. I recently got new equipment. I had to run all the way to Walmart because I was missing a piece of equipment that didn't come with it. So I had to run out really quickly. So shout out to me on the setup, y'all. I don't have a team. I would love a team. If y'all are seeing this and you want to be a part of the Raw Reality team, that's camera, that's, helping me set up with equipment, that's travel. I really do want to get a quote unquote assistant. I say assistant just for like more organization. I would never be like one of the bitches on TV like, fetch my coffee, do this, do that. I don't even drink coffee. But like I said, y'all, today's episode is Girls Need Love. And I'm not sure which episode we're on. I think we're on episode 5. I think this is gonna be episode 5, y'all. So woot, woot, woot. I am so freaking happy. So first topic that we're really getting into, and what I'll just really we're gonna speak on 2 things really. First thing, we're going to kind of just dissect what raw reality is and the meaning of it, because I feel like I've never really, broke down the meaning of raw reality and just, the history of the podcast. And that is so important with everything, because it's, it's the root of why I decided to do this, why this is my passion, and why I needed, to use my voice. So raw reality, that comes with a lot that I've been through. Raw really stands for real ass world. So now a lot in the podcast, y'all gonna hear in the intro and the outro, real ass world, because raw stands for that. And it's like you're in this real ass world, and it's like this is your reality, because I feel like life a lot of the times you could kind of get a facade. It could give facade, or it could give something that it's not. One thing is, the United States is the home of the free, but it's a lot of suppression, it's a lot of oppression in the United States. So it's kind of like that thin line of or play on words, really, for better wording. I feel like that's what the United States is, and that's what life is, and that's reality. So raw reality. And because this world will really chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready, and if you don't have a strong head on your shoulders. Definitely. So raw reality is a brand. Raw reality is a business. This is just a segment of my brand, a different department. This is my podcast department. But raw reality is a business. It is here, to help people get through this real ass world. It's here to be a support system for others. It's here for people that feel like me, that feel a little, misunderstood, or just don't understand why the world can't just be more pure and just give more giving instead of taking, because I feel like it's a lot of take in life and not enough of give. But life is also about what you make it. It's about the steps that you take. And I was just sitting back thinking about all the months that I just was not podcasting. And it's like, damn. But sometimes you need that reset of like, okay, I got to get my shit together. I got to work out my goals. I got to, take my time and really invest in myself. And if you take the time to invest in yourself and in your passions, you can go so far in this world, y'all, so far. And it's just so crazy. Life plays out like it's crazy. So that's just a little bit of history behind the podcast, y'all. I just wanted to put that in there and kind of explain the business end behind raw reality, because at the end of the day, we are a business. We are here for the people, I feel like, because sometimes I feel like it's not enough resources for just the people. Honestly, like honesty, and just no damn cut cards, no chase, like it's no catch, like it's nothing like that. It's just raw, giving it to you raw. Shout out to just shout out to everybody in my life that's supporting me right now, that's, interested in the podcast, interested in what I'm talking about, and actually watching the videos and asking me. Like, I seen people while I wasn't podding, and they were asking me, when are you gonna bring the podcast back, or when you gonna post the next episode? I really like the podcast, and that really touches me. It really makes me want to record. It makes me want to do podcasting, because it's people out here actually listening to what I have to say. With the Girls Need Love segment, y'all, episode, we are going to be talking about a couple of things. I think, the main inspiration behind this video is most definitely, I had seen a clip with Neek. She's on the Real Housewives of Orlando, and I ended up seeing a clip of her. And she was talking about how she was going to meet her dad or whatever for the first. Well, really, I think she met him a couple of times before, but not really. She didn't really know her dad or whatever. So it didn't really affect her. She expressed like she didn't feel any type of, anger or animosity towards her father. It was really just a sense of like curiosity, because she didn't know like her dad really. So she was at a point in her life where she was like, I want to, know my dad. And it was just crazy seeing her side, because even though, she really never had a relationship with her father. So it wasn't really like she was losing anything from that, but not to say it didn't affect her with not having her father. But that kind of like inspired me to just talk about this episode, because a lot of the times women, we become something, or we put this shell on ourselves of like just masking our soft side. I feel like, because especially girls that grew up without their dad, because we really just had to be on that defense, or we really missed that part in our life, just having that support. Because I feel like every daughter needs her dad. Like, it doesn't matter if he's moved far away, or if he's right here 5 minutes away, or y'all are living in the same home. Like, a daughter needs her father, because the father plays a certain role in the child's life. Like, there are literally things just like coming from your father that you need to hear. For me, I wanted to kind of do this episode to kind of put my story out here and put my journey, because I grew up with my father, I would say for I wouldn't say a couple of years, because it wasn't a couple. It was a few years. I grew up with my dad. I think my dad left and moved to Colorado when I was like 10. I might, be off a little bit with when he left, but I know in 5th grade, I believe 5th grade was when he moved to Colorado. And that was a big change for me, because I went all that time, with having my father in my life, and he was actively in my life. I would be at my grandmother's house all the time, there with him. He would work. I would be with my grandma at times. I would be with my cousins, but just having him there, and having my father and that love there, I felt secure. I didn't feel like I would say needed somebody, or I knew I had my dad. And if I needed him, I had him. You know what I'm saying? It was just like a different type of love. Like, my father was like my best friend. Like, he was literally like my best friend. I would love playing basketball with him, or going to the basketball court and seeing him play basketball, and just, the epics of a father and daughter relationship. And just losing that, it just really took a toll on me. And it wasn't, and like I said, you can be a father from, miles and miles away. But it's just about how that plays out. I feel like over time, my father and I just lost communication. And on my end, that hurt me, because I feel like I'm the child. I shouldn't have to seek, you, or I shouldn't have to call you consistently or every day just to hear from you, just to check on me. Like, you should call and check on me, or make sure that I'm good, and make sure that I'm okay. What do I like to do? What's been going on? How's school been going? Who's your friend? And this and that. And I feel like that's the epics, I would say, of a father and daughter relationship, just having that bond. I see in my job a lot of the times dads come in and they're with their daughters, and that's their first priority. And I feel like your kids in general should be your first priority. And just my journey, it kind of lacked over time, I would say. And in return, that kind of put anger in me, because I kind of felt like, well, damn, like, it's not like we're just your only kids, and you just moved and it's hard to communicate with us because the mom makes it difficult, or this and that. It's none of those factors there. So the fact that you can't communicate with your child consistently, checking up on your child, not even financially, which that is a part of parenting. Me being a parent, I couldn't imagine not sending food, money for food, money for clothes, money for everything, just basic necessities. I could not imagine not, fulfilling that for my child, for my son. I could not imagine not talking to him every day and seeing how his day went and what he's doing, what he ate today, how he's feeling, what new words has he learned. Like, I love learning about my child. I love getting to know my child and building a bond. So the fact that you could go months and months and months without talking to your child or even knowing how everything is just ballistic to me. Like, it's just really crazy. And in turn, I feel like a lot of the times that relationship with my dad has turned me into the woman that I am today. Like, on a good end, I would say a good habit that was formed was forgiveness, because I learned how to forgive, because I spent so many years being angry. Like, I spent so many years being angry at my mom, being angry at just everybody, because it's just like, but most importantly, my mom thought I wasn't angry at my dad, but he was the main person that I was angry with, because it's like, do you not love me? Do you not know how to build a relationship? Do you not want to build a relationship? Is the relationship between you and my mother the cause of, how you come off as a father, or how you present yourself as a father? Like, it's just those questions always arise, and it seems like I've never got any answers on those questions at all. And I feel like that's what a girl needs, because I feel like in my life and in relationships, I question a lot. Like, I question, does my boyfriend love me? Like, am I doing too much? Like, am I a bitch? Like, am I tripping? Like, I question myself a lot. And I feel like I want to break those bad habits about myself, because I've built so many just off the simple fact of missing my dad, because that's all it was. Like, I feel like I grieved him because I didn't have that same relationship that I had when he was home. Like, it was just something different. And for me, it's not really anger that I hold anymore. It's really just, like Nick said, like, curiosity. Like, I'm really, like, curious to know, like, why. Like, I just want to know why, and that's it. But I feel like my feelings, like, when I communicate my feelings, is just not heard a lot of the times. And it can be how I come off. It can be my tone. It can be how I talk. It can be my body language. It can be my mannerisms. That's something that I can, admit about myself. Because when I'm mad, when I'm on 100, it's just, I'm gonna have to come all the way back down, and then we can have a conversation. So a lot of the times my boyfriend, he's like, when you're mad, it's just no point in talking, because like we're not gonna get to any solution with you being mad, because you're angry to the point of where like it's just no talking. It's just yelling and no resolution. So that's something that I want to break to. Just when I'm in an angry space, I just need to learn how to either walk away until I'm ready to talk, or honestly just calm down, listen, and then respond. I feel like that's very important. Like, listen, honestly, listen to what the person is saying. Every word, listen to what the person is saying, and then have a response. Working on that would most definitely help me a lot and just get me through a lot. Another thing that I feel like came out when you kind of lost that relationship with my father is abandonment issues, because I felt like everybody that I didn't want to really grow a relationship with anybody, kind of, sort of, or either like I sabotaged those relationships because I don't want you to get close to me to hurt me or to leave me. Like, really just breaking that habit and breaking that mindset is really just an important part for me in just moving on. And because with anger, it'll always be there until you're ready to move on from it. Is honestly what I feel like. And then I feel like my last habit, y'all, this is the last habit that we're going to talk about. The last habit that I felt like I, developed from, not having a relationship with my father is just not liking change. Like, I love the moments that I spent with my father when he was here, like just riding around, listening to music, getting food, just the normal things of like being a father, going to amusement parks, taking trips, and just all of that good stuff. Just not only and most importantly, being able to see your mom and your dad communicate and just co-parent. You don't have to be together. That's very understandable. But seeing your parents co-parent is important, because it goes to show, yeah, we're not together, we don't have to love each other, but at the end of the day, we made a child together, and like we got to maneuver through this thing until really they don't need us anymore to be together to make decisions, until we can coexist separately as a family. I feel like that's very important. And just the maturity level for your parents, it creates the outcome for the child's childhood. Like, I feel like if my parents were way more mature, then I would have had a way better childhood, and things could have went a lot better and a lot more smoothly with visiting, taking trips, and just those moments that you need together as a family. I feel like we missed out on that time because of anger and feelings and stuff that could really be talked out. Because if you're not going to be together at the end of the day, this is how I see it. If you're not going to be together, what is the point of holding anger all this time and being like, oh, well, I don't want to talk to such and such, and I don't want to talk to this person, and he better not do this, and like, what is the point? I don't have anything to do with anything, any person that you talk to, anything that you're doing. All I'm worried about is my child. Of course, if you have a woman around my child, I want to meet her. I want to get to know her. Like, cool. That but I obviously want to do that because you're going to be around my child. And to a point, like, especially if you're going to be with that person for years and years to come, let's get comfortable as a family, because we got to blend together and just work this thing out. Like, I would have no problem. I would literally be the bitch. Like, I'm the baby mama, the new one. The new one, like, hey girl, wine, chill, vibes, the kids playing upstairs. Like, it's really no petty shit. Like it's really no petty shit with me, because you should be able to put all of that to the side for the child, especially if you're done with that person. To me, if you're still holding on to all these feelings, and it's so hard to maneuver and get around with the child and this and that, so many problems, like it's still feelings there. It's still feelings there, or some that need to be talked out. And it just could be a simple conversation. I feel like it could be a very simple conversation for the sake of the child. This is going to change the child's childhood and how they grow up and how they are going to put on their lenses to look at this real ass world. Like, it is really crazy as fuck. And as far as like stepmoms, like if you're with a nigga that got a baby, and you didn't already, talk this out with you already didn't establish, okay, you got a child, I understand that, and you're going to be with this man, you have to accept his kids. Like, you have to accept his kids as your own. You have to accept these kids as your own. I'm not saying you have to accept them as your own, but you have to accept the child. Me personally, I'm going to accept the child as my own. Like, I'm never going to treat you any different. It's never going to be any of that. I'm going to love you the same way that I love my son. Like, honestly, it could never be anything different with me. And I feel like as a stepmom, you have to, or quote unquote stepmom, you're dating somebody with a child, like you got to come with that energy. I feel like don't get me wrong, it don't got to be out the gate, comfortable with your child, watching the baby. It takes time. You got to make sure this is something that you are ready for. It definitely takes time to, adjust and blend as a family. But at the end of the day, you got to take the steps to do it. You really got to take the steps to do it for the child specifically. And if you're just not willing to accept the child and you still stand with the man, like, you just flawed. Like, you're just flawed, because at the end of the day, you hurting the child. That's all I got to say, because it is not about no damn adult in no relationship. That shit gonna come and it's gonna go, and if it's meant to be, it's gonna be. But you gotta put on your big girl drawers and just deal with shit at the end of the day. But that's that, y'all. I loved talking about that segment. And girls need their fathers. Every daughter needs their dad, and to, I feel like, be a strong woman, because you're never gonna need a nigga for shit, especially if you had a good father. Like, my daddy got it, I ain't got to worry about it. My daddy got me, I ain't got to worry about, I ain't got to worry about it. I ain't even got to put up with it. So just think about that. For all the fathers out there, if any father is listening right now, just think about the position that you play in your child's life and how you're affecting your child every day. Last thing that we're going to cover, y'all, on this segment, because we're almost done with the first episode, we're going to take a quick little break. So I just want to cover a couple of things. So we're starting the raw scenarios. So with the raw scenarios, it's going to be a little bit different than what it initially was. So you can send in your calls, send in your voice messages, and let us know any problems that you're having, anything that you want to get off. It's going to be like a little video diary. It can't be more than 1 minute, y'all. It cannot be more than 1 minute. Keep it at a minute. Let me know what's going on, and I'm going to respond to your message and give you some advice and give you some raw ass advice. So we're going to keep it real raw and real uncut. So just make sure y'all sending in y'all video messages. I'm going to put the link to the email in the description. All of your video messages to that email in the description box, y'all. Don't be scared. I'm gonna do one every episode. I'm gonna do about 2 every episode, so you never know when yours is gonna be featured on the episode until you watch it. So I'm so excited for that. So make sure y'all are sending in your episodes. So let's get into the first raw scenario. So we did have somebody send in one raw scenario, y'all. So shout out to them. We don't disclose your name. We don't disclose any of that. And this person actually just typed, their scenario. So that's something that you can do also, is if you don't want to send in a video message, you don't want to do a voice and have to worry about, distorting your voice or changing your voice. You can also just type out your message. So we're just going to read it and get into it. So it says, lately, me and my boyfriend haven't been seeing eye to eye. He is constantly staying out all night with the guys, even though I expressed I would like date nights. His tone and body language towards me also makes me feel a way. I constantly try to explain my feelings, but it's as if I'm never heard. And he always responds with, why do I nag so much? That is what makes him not, hold on y'all, okay. That is what makes him not want to spend quality time with me, because I mess up the vibe. He was the perfect gentleman at first. Now everything is just going downhill. So she's saying that her boyfriend is basically staying out all night with the guys, not spending time with her, not putting in quality time in a relationship, and it's basically saying that she nags too much and she really doing too much. Honestly, my girl just asking for a little bit of attention and just some quality time. And the fact that you can give your niggas quality time and not your bitch is really crazy to me. Like, that shit is crazy to me. And I feel like at a certain point, you gotta ask a nigga, like, what did you here for? Like, where are we going from here? Like, what are we building to? Especially if, like, you really trying to, you done with, the really dating. You not dating just for nothing. You really dating like to marry or whatever. Like, what you ask him straight up, like, what are we doing? If you feel like I nag so much, why are you still here? If you feel like I do too much, why are you still here? And why do you feel the need to go hang out with your guys and not me? And if I mess up the vibe so much, not mess up the vibe, it was the mess up the vibe for me. If I mess up the vibe so much, go find you a good vibe, Bookie. Like, go find you a good vibe, because I like, what are we doing? So that's what I would honestly ask that nigga. Like, are you good? Like, do you not see what you got here? Like, so I mean, if you're not ready to accept me for who I am, for the bad bitch that I am, you can exit stage left real quick. And I feel like that is how you got to come behind these niggas nowadays. You can't be scared to lose a nigga, because if you scared to lose a nigga, you gon' stick to the same thing all the time. And it's me personally, I'm not saying first thing happen, jump up and leave, but you got to know your worth. You got to really feel your man out, know your man. Give it a good month. Give it a good month. Shit, I give it a good 2 months. And see the patterns, see the tendencies. And that's going to tell you everything you need to know. A good man, if he wants you, he going to make it happen. If he want to go on a date with you, he going to schedule the date. He going to say, hey, be ready at 8:00. We just be ready. Like, niggas going to be on that type of time. And we kind of get it confused sometimes. Like, all these niggas is the same, but it's one out there to float everybody boat. I promise you. You got to just find yourself first. Love yourself and know what you're not willing to accept. Like, I know on my end, I'm not willing to accept any bullshit. I'm not going to let anybody talk shit to me or talk down to me or make me feel like I'm less of a woman, because I know I'm that bitch. Like, I could never let a nigga get me fucked up that in the head that type of way, because I know I'm that bitch. Like, I know what I'm bringing to the table. So it's just like, okay, I feel like that's how we gonna go about that one. So that was the first raw scenario. That was cute. That was really cute. But you can do something about boyfriends. You can do something about family. It can be anything that you're feeling or anything that you want to express. That is what raw reality is. Just this real ass world, y'all, that we are living in. And again, thank you for tuning in to episode 5 of the Raw Reality Podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode, y'all. I love y'all so much. We just working on getting better, going up, 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 up. I love y'all, and stay tuned in this real ass world. Bye, y'all.